Hello and welcome. As a warning, this episode isn't going to be fully about PvM because skills such as prayer, herb lore, and especially summoning greatly helps me along in my long-term series for 5 bill. And any other skill that I'm training is just for the comp cape because since the comp cape is the best cape in the game, I kind of want it. And eventually I'll be getting it. I'll most likely get it before I actually get the 5 bill. Even though it'll cost like 200 mil. I don't know what supplies cost nowadays though. So I spent another good hour or two gathering more dreadnips. For only 450 kills, these dreadnips do an incredible amount of damage. So if you ever want to get like serious about PvM or money making through PvM, this is pretty much a must to get. To actually access these dreadnips, you need at least 110 combat. Then there's a bunch of other quest requirements to it. If you want more information, there's plenty of guides out there, especially RSWiki fan sites. I just use RSWiki because it's updated more often. Anyway, so to aid me in the long run, I've been doing penguins, and this is probably the first I've done this seriously since I started this series because I did it casually before, not worrying about how much time I spent doing it. But for this mini game to be worth your time, you have to do it pretty quick. This is a good way to train up skills, especially summoning. It takes away from having to obtain charms, making the pouches, and taking the loss from the supplies. Summoning is a very slow training skill, and it costs a decent amount of money. But this can be frustrating if you do it alone, or even large groups of people. If you do it alone, you have nobody to ask for help. You're kind of alone. There are the friend chat for asking where locations are, but they're not always that helpful. But if you have a friend around, you could have him help scout you around, you could help him. But with too many people, there is usually one person in the group who slows everybody down. And then it comes to either ditching that person or waiting on them. Waiting on them slows down your XP per hour, but if you ditch them, you kind of look like a douche. So I prefer to go with a group of friends that I know can keep up with the speed I want to do it at. So there's a while ago they released the Ghost Penguin, which I was actually shocked that it was real because you need a ring of invisibility to see it, and then it has a pretty big roam area. I don't think it actually has any limits except for it can't go down ladders and such. So it's really hard to find. I usually just skill on World 60 or stand in a spawn location, but it really depends on how motivated I am at the time. But generally, I choose to skip the Ghost Penguin because it's usually very hard to find. Now for PvM, summoning has a huge part in this. You have your Beast of Burdens, your healing familiars, your combat familiars. Now combat familiars, they're not used that often. Well, actually, it depends on which boss, but healing familiars are pretty much used the most. You have your Bunyip at 68 summoning, Fruit Bat at 69 summoning, Elemental Titan at 79 summoning, which I get soon, somewhere later in this episode, and a Unicorn at 88 summoning. Now the Elemental Titan helps, it gives defense, and it heals 8% of your HP. I don't remember exact number, but the Unicorn is incredibly helpful, especially since Aura Scrolls are very inexpensive. And with the challenge system, it adds even more XP you can gain from not actually having to gather charms. It's just like a bonus. Another good way to get charms is daily Borks. Now, you have to run through the wilderness to do this if you want to do this daily. The quest is pretty straightforward, the boss fight is really easy, and you just need a small amount of food, some pots, teleport out. But since you do have to run through the wilderness, I would advise, if you plan to do this, you should bring Bruise Restores just in case you do get attacked. Also, I really have to do Fish Flingers at some point. It's really good fishing XP, and it can be very useful depending on how the evolution of combat works out. But it's just adding another thing into my weekly schedule that's already cramped enough. I might not have time for it. So a decent chunk of this episode talks about summoning because it's quite important in PvM. So anyway, now onto Ceradome and God Wars. Now this was this clip here, it was a bit after they patched farming the God Wars item from the minions, which was really silly. I don't know why they didn't even test that out. But so I went with a few friends that I knew from my main account that I haven't seen on in quite a while. So I kind of wanted to just go do something with them while I do see them on. But to keep it so that I'm still like doing my whole series thing, I'm not getting carried along because of them. I am only allowed to free for all, no split with them. Meaning if they get a drop, I'm not allowed to take a split from them. And if I got a drop, I'll probably split with them just because I know them. But yeah, even though they had like max gear, chaotic turmoil, bandos, overloads, all that stuff, out of like a 2-hour trip, I did get around 7 kills or so, especially with the help of Dreadnoths, which hits 500s. It's amazing. Sometime after that, a friend of mine messaged me asking if I wanted to go dual God Wars with him, so I was up for the idea. We didn't want to go to Bandos because Bandos, well, gets crashed like 24/7. Armadyl has quite a long KC, so it came down to Sarah or Zammy. Zammy has poison, so Sarah is kind of easier to do. So we decided to go to Sarah because it's easier. So we both got KC, we found a world, then right when I finished my KC, I get ditched because he forgot he had work at the time. Anyway, so I'm stuck at Saradomin with 40 KC, geared up for a quick trip to Saradomin. So it's well worth a try at Saradomin, just for like 1 kill, then teleport out. Surely I would be able to pull off at least 1 kill, right? But I forgot I had a fruit bat. I ended up having to flinch the boss and have my Dreadnought stun it so it stops like chasing me, so it could do damage and I could just attack the minions. And this took 5 minutes for 1 kill. It was quite slow. And I didn't even get anything good from it. But it would have been really cool if I got a Saradomin Hill. Which did happen once for Born for PVM, if you know him. I was back, I think it was over a year ago. I was helping him with this video. He was doing a video where I think it was the one where he tries to go to all of the God Wars, solo it all in one trip. And I was just the bless account if he did die. So he went in to solo all the bosses in one trip. And he got a Sarah Hill on the first kill at Sarah. Even though I didn't participate in the fight in any way, he still gave me a 16 or 17 mil split. And I was pretty happy with that. So anyway, back to summoning. Summoning is a god-awful skill, but with a nice reward to it. Like the pouches, familiars, that stuff. So I usually try to do my weekly triple charms at Water Fiend task for my charms. And I've got quite a few saved up. And notice I was pretty close to 79 summoning, which is the milestone for the Elemental Titan, which I would very much like to have. So the Elemental Titan has less potential to heal you compared to a fruit bat, but it does not require as much clicking. So in the previous episode, I went to Armadyl with a fruit bat, and pretty much the whole 2 hours I was clicking to either eat papayas or cast scrolls. So for me, the fruit bat is really just meant to be a stepping stone to get up to an Elemental Titan, and then a unicorn eventually, then a Pack-Yak. Pack-Yak's really nice. So I figured why not just use all my charms. Along the way, I got a maze random. I can't wait for these to be gone. Although I have noticed, I don't have a clip of this, but there seems to be, you get a lot more of the Abyss random than the other randoms. I'm not sure if this is true or not. It's just something I may have observed. After 80 summoning, I realized that this was just about the time for the Corp one-hit livestream that Runescape was hosting, so I geared up for it. I was not in the Dark Bow gear for the event because that would cost me some money for the bows and arrows. So I decided to try to actually get the drop for a chance at the drop. And the only chance you're going to get is if you have Ruby Bolts to spec that like 1000 damage. And out of the 90 minutes I was there, I did get 1 kill, but it was a Mystic Air Staff. Too bad though, because in one of the previous Runeshark events, somebody did get like a single from one of the Corp drops. And that would have been a really cool story to tell. I went back to finish the last of my charms. I started with 6.2 mil in supplies for summoning, and ended up with 4.3 mil of supplies. So I lost about 2 mil going from 78 to 80 summoning. But I did get my Elemental Titan. Summoning is a costly skill, but good thing there are quest rewards, such as While Guthix Sleeps, it gives a massive XP lamp at the end, which I plan to use that lamp on summoning. Also, one important thing a large amount of people don't seem to know is that you can actually get XP from the clan cloak from maintaining your clan citadel, which is pretty easy. You don't even have to cap, you just have to do the bare minimum. And which on top of that, from the XP from the cloak, you have the fealty, which offers like 45% more XP. And it makes maintaining a clan citadel well worth the time, especially on higher tier citadels. So back to the challenges. I finished doing Rocktails. I wanted to fix some beacons because I need all the beacons lit up for my Varrock diaries. I killed some cute white bunny spider creature thing. I cured a tree by ringing a chime. Ran through some icky sewers. Killed some warped terror birds. And well, the reason I'm doing quests that you're seeing here is because While Guthix Sleeps has essentially a 400k XP lamp that you can use on any skills. On top of the sizzling summer bonus, this will pretty much put me much closer to level 88 summoning, which is the unicorn, which is something I'm really aiming for right now. Now, quests, they are very god-awful annoying when you don't want to do them. When you have like other goals, like my goal is to make money, pretty much get a comp cape on this account as fast as I can, or well, as fast as I want to. But when you have other goals and you pretty much, when you see a quest, you want to go through it. You don't want to stick and listen to the storyline because you don't have time. So people usually do not have the time to appreciate the storyline if they have other priorities like that. I might talk more about this in another video because what I found was when I actually have the time to listen to the quest, go through the storyline, read the dialogue, I actually enjoyed the quest pretty well. But of course, quests aren't gonna appeal to every single player. It's just a thought. I'll talk more about this in another video. But the point is, quests are a lot easier if you have friends to help guide you along. So I've been doing quests on the weekends with an old friend of mine, and it helps a lot, especially if one of us gets stuck. Rather than having to do it alone, read through all it to figure out what you messed up on. And I don't know, it's kind of weird that when I look at quest guides, it's weird that they kind of tell you what to do, but then in between that, they tell you why you have to do that. I kind of wish there was like just a part where it's like you go here after that, and that would be a lot more simpler than having to reread through all the blah 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 because that and that. So I'm doing quests with my friend on the weekend. We're going for While Guthix Sleeps because of the 400k XP lamp, which I plan to use towards my unicorn again. This is a lot of skilling. So I thought I should do some PVM. A friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go to God Wars. So we didn't want to do Bandos. Bandos get crashed. Armadillo is too long, so it's Sarah or Zammy. I already went to Sarah, well, briefly. And so I just wanted to go to Zammy. And first skill, I noticed that I didn't have anti-poison for Zammy. That was kind of stupid of me. After the first kill, like we weren't even through the first kill. My friend, my duo partner, said that he had to be right back. So we finished killing the boss. We logged out to the lobby. 5 minutes later, he comes back and tells me he has to go. So this is the second time I get ditched at God Wars. So after getting ditched for the second time in this episode, I decided to just go Dagannoth. I mean, Dagannoth Kings is solo. I go at my own speed. I don't have to rely on anybody else. And on the 5th kill, I do get a Warrior's Ring. It's not a Hatchet or a Berserker Ring, but at least it's a drop. It's like 400k, 500k, somewhere in between that. And, well, actually, maybe not the 5th kill because I had to bank because I forgot to bring anti-poison to Dagannoth Kings. Man, I wish these guys dropped charms. This would be such a good way to gather charms. Even if it was only one charm per kill, like God Wars, it'd still be something really cool. But I guess I could just save that for when I finally unlock Tormented Demons with While Guthix Sleeps. Also, I brought a Dominion Marker 3. It offers a higher magic bonus boost than Vecna Skull, which is like a plus 6 or 7, while the Dominion Marker gives a plus 8. And while using it at Dagannoth Kings, I noticed it doesn't always boost my stats consistently because there were times where I just stayed at 99 out of 99 magic. And it does boost you even if you have other stats boosted. As long as it'll boost your stats as long as you have one stat that is either below or at the base level. Sometime during the trip, another player came into the world I was on, and we started to compete for Rex. It seems he was on his Slayer task, so he kind of had the advantage with the helmet because I didn't have one. On his first kill, he did get a Dragon Hatchet off Rex. Now, when somebody goes and crash you and get an item on the first kill, you may get a little bit mad, but it's just when somebody does more damage than you. He did offer to split the hatchet, but I declined on the offer because he did get the hatchet fair and square, and it's only like 400k split, so it's not that much. Later, I did get my own dragon hatchet drop, so yay, a real drop. So when it came down to when I ran out anti-poison, I only had elemental titan, so I didn't want to really deal with having to keep healing over my poison, even though I still had some prayer pots left. So I was just gonna stay for one kill, and that last kill I actually got a dragon hatchet. So that's like, I think this is the first time. Like, I don't think next counts because the drops are pretty common. But I think this is the first time where the last drop I actually do at a boss and plan to leave after that I actually do get a drop for myself. And this is my first trip using a Moss Titan at, as well as Dreadnips at Dagannoth Kings. Like, on top of the Moss Titan heal, Excalibur heal, Dominion Marker boost, and Polypore, I lasted quite a while. Even though I was using Flask, which costs a bit more cash, but I kind of prefer the long trips because once you do like a 190-minute or 120-minute trip, you kind of, when you bank, you kind of don't want to go back because you don't feel like it. If you're geared up for a really long trip, you kind of don't want to leave until you finish up using all your supplies. As the days go on, I get more challenges, and I actually got a Dungeoneering challenge, which is hooray, free XP. But when I went there, I was shocked that even on a 1500 skill total world, there would be people spamming about leeches, which is quite disappointing. You can't, like, there's been this problem for quite a while where leech friend chat will just spam out every Dungeoneering world. They tried to move to a different world each time, but then they would just follow, so it's kind of no wonder people are having such a hard time with Dungeoneering. Because even though this is kind of like a service for people to get their Dungeoneering up, I so often get these people who have like 110 Dungeoneering, but they pretty much leech their way all the way up to that. So when they finally get into a dungeon, they have no idea what the hell they're doing. Another problem I have with them is absurd amount of spamming they do, especially when they try to outspam another leech friend's chat by trying to out-advertise each other. It's pretty funny to watch, but it's very disappointing if you're trying to find a team. So after getting my Dungeoneering XP, I went to do Penguins, and to my surprise, I had 50 points saved up somehow. So I remember to this one point where it wasn't on this account, it was on my old account, where I was doing Penguins. I had 50 points saved up. I was ready to use it on experience, but I misread it and chose the option to turn it all into coins. And I got 102k for my 50 points. It's a good thing I didn't mess up on that again, because that would be I would be very discouraged, disappointed. I did end up getting 101k something XP from that. That is a lot of XP, especially with Troll Invasion coming up. I gotta do that when October comes around. And then I realized by finishing the Dungeoneering challenge, I leveled up to 85 Dungeoneering. I didn't even realize I was this close to Frost Dragons. So I wanted to give it a try and realize why I didn't do it like ever. It's repetitive, boring, and the only good drop is a Visage that is not common at all. Like, you can't even really hope for it. Well, besides the guaranteed Frost Dragon bones, that's the bulk of your money. There's no real drop that you can get, like, unique drop from it that's worth something. But I may do this a bit when I finally get Turmoil, but without being able to heal from Soul Split, I do not really plan to do much of this, like, ever. Although I'm thinking of spending my loyalty points on Vampirism, I finally have enough. And this is pretty much the only useful aura I can think of. The only other one is maybe the one that saves prayer. Another week passed, it was the weekend, and I got a few more quests done. And I do wish I have the time to listen through to some of these quests, because when I did One Piercing Note the first time on my main account, when it was first released, I was shocked to actually find I really enjoyed the storyline, especially the ending. But when you're trying to get past all the grind to a comp cape and like cash and whatever, you just can't really prioritize listening through to quests. And now to the final part of the episode, the skilling part. I think they really did a good job with bonfires. I actually had some very nice conversation with some people that I know, some people I don't know while I'm doing fire making. So this covers almost everything I've done. I recently had, I probably won't be talking over footage for this, So I recently had an idea while I was doing summoning, and I found a great item to flip. I bought them for about mid in Grand Exchange, and the item is kayak pouches, and I came across this while I was doing summoning. I found it quite hard to get these in the Grand Exchange, so I thought, what if I just got a good amount of these, keep it high, like have a sell offer on them, pretty high in the Grand Exchange. I had them for like about 30k, so if you bought some kayak pouches for 30k, that was probably from me. And see if they sell. And sure enough, I was able to sell 100 of them for twice what I bought them for. Now, this will probably ruin the item, but to learn from this, you gotta learn the concept of where you buy an item that's low in stock and you just sell it. Although you want an item that people actually want to use, not something that people know nothing about. And I do have a video where I talk about this briefly. I'll just put it in the bottom of the description. So that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.